unfortunately, one or two opponents are a no-show. Frank Sadler's fighting Kofi. Kofi's a no-show. Now, I don't know what we're going to read into that, but we can invent whatever we like. It's no problem at all. The toilets have been locked for the last 60 minutes. Someone's inside. That's neither here nor there. Shane Silver is a no-show, correct? I don't want to talk if he's here because that's unfair. Tom Hooker, your opponent's will be arranged at some point, as will Matt Harding's opponent be arranged at some point. Lucy P is a no-show. Is that correct? She's not sitting here, Lucy P. She is going to show, though, yeah? She's not immigrated or something drastic, has she? Because strange things happen. And Jamie Curry is a no-show, correct? If Jamie's okay, it's his debut, he's okay, and he's going to be solid. Anyway, the fights are on the, just let's go through a few of the formalities. On Sunday the 15th of March at the Clapham Grand, you know the routine. There are, and when these guys say there are very few tickets left, they're not kidding. There are very few tickets left. They sell out these shows. I know I've been at one, and I was staggered, I was stunned. I mean, I don't know how many people they're allowed to have in there, and if there's anybody in here from the Fire Brigade, they certainly have far more people in there than they're allowed to have. It's a fantastic event, and if it would be the first time for anybody here going to see their friend box, it will be a unique experience. And my understanding of the way this white-collar business works, because I don't know that much about it, not as much as some of the people in this room, is that every time someone's friend fights, it converts other friends who just fancy doing it, because there's a bit of fighting instinct in all of us, and when you're with someone and suddenly that person says, I'm having a fight, I'm boxing on Sunday week, and you take a look at them and know that there's no way they could be boxing in your head, so I tell you, it gets you. Then when you get to the fight and you see them win and you see their adrenaline and you get pumped, these guys depend on the fans being converted by what they've seen in the ring, and my understanding is they do indeed get converted. So we're going to move down the table if we can and just get a couple of words from one or two people on the table. Big Frank down the end. Kofi, do you know anything about Kofi, Frank?
Seen him box a couple times. I know that he's been knocked out twice in a row, but I'm not reading too much into that. I'm not iffy. That's the only one I know that he's been knocked out by. Just going to take it as it comes.
And what about you, Frank? How many have you had on this circuit?
This is my first one on this circuit. I've had 12 unlicensed before. I haven't lost any. I had 39 amateurs. I only lost 2.
So you haven't beaten in 12 on the white in the white collar business?
Yeah.
That's going some, isn't it? How old are you, Frank? You don't mind me asking.
32.
Okay. And when did you say you had those amateurs? Did you then have a 10-year break, 9-year gap or something?
Yeah, I had a little break out. I had slight fucking about, doing bits and pieces. Had kids and I had to go to work and that. So yeah,
it's a bastard having to go to work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
See if we can sort that out for you.
Yeah.
So you've done that thing where you've gone away, you've messed around, you've had kids, you've had to do all the normal stuff, and then you just got the itch again.
Yeah, well,
it seems. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've always had the itch. It was something that it needs to be scratched, and it was just like, you know what, Michael O'Sullivan, he's my cousin. I come and watched him on his last fight, and I just got that itch. Really, it was hard to ignore then. So it was like, you know what, I'm fighting.
So what's going to cure the itch? A couple of wins, or just the one win, or maybe going for one of their belts? I'm trying to sort of understand why you keep doing it, because you've had the wins. You've come back, you've scratched the itch.
To be honest with you, I'm not too sure. I just want to fight. That's it. That's why I wanted Kofi as well, because he's a big fella. He looks good. He's a muscly fella. Do you know what I mean? But any day other than that, I think he's very beatable. So I just thought I want him.
Frank, thanks very much indeed. I'll go down the other end of the table. Frank down there. Frank, you got that middleweight belt. Did you win that on one of the last shows?
I won it. I think it was last April show or March show. Yeah.
And Shane Silver, before I ask you, do you know him? You haven't beaten him twice or something like that, have you?
No.
I've got shit researchers here. It's going to be a job next time for someone, I can assure you. It's driving me nuts. I keep asking people questions. Say, well, I fought him last week, you donut. So you don't know Shane Silver as such?
No, don't know him. Not at all.
And what's your story then, Frank? How did you end up sitting on this table?
So a few years back, Alan's first show down at Imber Court, they was doing a frenemy show, and one of the other guys had a fight and he pulled out, and then Alan needed someone to fill in, so I just thought, why not have a go? And then from there, yeah, just caught the bug.
So
really.
had you boxed when you were, not a year old, but had you boxed when you were like 13, 14, when you were a kid?
No, I
you
started 17.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. Good luck defending your title. Tess!
Yes.
How are you? Okay.
Yeah, very well.
Tess, have you had, this is your first, second or third?
This is my third fight.
Okay, I wasn't a bad guess. I got there, didn't I, in the end? Do you know Lucy P?
I've sparred her once.
Will she show up?
I hope so.
So do I. Sold all your tickets?
Well, yeah, I've got like names for them. But
Yeah,
I
good.
Hand them over.
It's tough. Listen, the people will start wanting to come the last couple of days, as you know from the past. So have you fought at the Clapham Grand on the previous two occasions?
Yeah, so I've had two fights. This is my third.
Okay.
So one at Clapham Grand and one at Bethnal Green at York Hall.
Bloody hell, you're cool. That's hallowed ground.
Yeah.
You've been in a ring. You've shared a ring where some of the greatest fighters in history have boxed.
Yeah, I
Lennox
know.
Lewis was in that ring.
know.
Bloody hell, well done. Nassim Hamid fought in that ring. Joe Kawasaki fought in that ring. Ricky Hatton regrets never fighting in that ring.
And I fought in that ring.
You fought in that ring. That's going some. Let me ask you this, Tess. What do you do for a living away from boxing?
I'm a nurse.
A proper nurse.
Yeah,
A real,
proper.
yeah. I mean that nice. And nothing.
Not like a thing.
Nothing against other nurses, but a real nurse. Yeah, like a big girl's nurse. Yeah, proper nurse. So in a hospital or in a sort of doctor GP.
In a hospital.
Proper.
Yeah,
Bloody hell. I didn't think there were any left. Thought it all fucked off. I didn't think there's any real nurses
We're
left.
just working very hard.
You're just working very hard for peanuts, yeah. So, when you sparred with Lucy P, how was that?
Yeah, it's good. She's hard. It's going to be a challenge.
Okay.
It's a fair fight, I reckon.
I love it, it's the third fight. Where do you live, Tess?
I live in Putney.
Okay, so there's not a great distance to you.
No.
Let me ask you this, I always like this. What made you walk into a gym whenever it was and take up boxing? Because I'm assuming you didn't box when you were 13 or 14.
No, I didn't. So about 3.5 years ago, I started boxing for fitness and just for stress, because I have quite a stressful job to get out with.
Yeah.
And then I got pregnant, and I boxed throughout my pregnancy. 2 days before I was due to give birth.
So you
I
still
stopped
hitting the
boxing.
bag and stuff?
Yeah, and
Okay.
pads and kind of
Yeah.
moving around. And
Was that helping with the pregnancy?
Yeah.
The effort?
Yeah,
the exercise?
Yeah, it was amazing. And the birth was like completely.
Back in the gym the next day? Literally?
6 weeks later.
Get in, sister.
Brought back, and then something changed in my head. So literally, I had Tom, my second kid, and then it was really weird. I was like, right, now I want to fight. And then that was it. And then from that day, the focus completely switched. And then I was kind of on it.
So you've got a couple of kids.
Yeah.
You've got a hard, stressful, unbelievable job for which you don't get A, enough money and B, enough credit.
Yeah.
And yet you're still finding time to do this. How long will you carry on doing this? Or is this essential to you handling the other two things?
It's essential to me handling the other two things. It's like a
Yeah.
triangle. It kind of, it's everything. It all kind of all sort of feeds into one.
Shit, I like interviewing white-collar fighters more than I like interviewing multi-millionaire boxers, to be honest with you. It's much more fun. No, it's true. The answers are more truthful. You know, you get Tyson Fury on a good day, you get good stuff. You get Tyson Fury on a bad day, you get complete and utter bollocks. And I mean it nicely. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it. Right, I'm going to do the other two. Then I'll come to you guys in a minute, the two of you that are actually fighting each other. Let me just try and get this right, because it's a 50-50 whether I've got the man on my left or the man on my right correct. I'm going to go, Matt?
Yep.
Fucking hell. I'm buying a lottery ticket later on. Matt, how are you?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, top. So, Matt, have you boxed before?
No.
So this is your first one?
Yes.
And do you know, have you any idea who you might box? You obviously have that sparring day, don't you, where you get to...
He wasn't there.
Okay. So, and Matt, bit of reverb there. What made you, whenever it was, 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, walk into a boxing gym?
To be fair, it was, thanks to one of my friends, really. For years and years, I said, I really want to do it, And then one day, something just clicked in my head, and I went with him. I've done it ever since.
And has it been good?
Yeah, I love it.
Were you at a bit of a loose end?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I did other sports, but
So it's sorting you out a little bit of
to
boxing.
be fair, yeah. Obviously, I've got a couple of kids, so
What do they think? How old are your kids?
one of them's 3.
Okay.
One of them's on the way.
Okay, so they're not sort of 15,
No,
16
yeah.
or something. We had a guy last time, he just started to box at about 44 years of age, and his teenage children and his adult kids just couldn't believe it. They thought he was having a bizarre midlife crisis, but no, he just had to fight. That was what it... Listen, thanks very much indeed. Tom. Tom, it's Tom, isn't it?
Tom's this side.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. That's not bad. Tom, how are you? Very well. Sorry for messing you up with Elliot. Tom, is it your first rodeo, so to speak?
I've done 2 white collars before.
How were they?
Yeah, they were good, yeah. Wasn't prepared for the first one.
And what made you walk into the gym, and how old were you when you walked in, Tom?
So I was 35 when I started doing. Just packed up playing football.
And
got a
needed
load of
something.
weight, wanted to do something else, and that was that.
And did it work? Has
Yeah,
it worked?
Yeah, it did. I wasn't prepared for the first one. I didn't give it enough respect how hard the sport itself actually is.
What, so you thought that you'd done the sparring and the training, but once you actually get in there with the 10-ounce gloves and face with another man and a few hundred people, it's a different business, eh?
I think having watched it on TV, you just perhaps not respected how difficult any of it is. But then, having got in and done it.
That's that percentage of what percentage of boxing is mental and what percentage is physical.
Yeah.
And I think you found out that day that a lot of it is mental, so you've got to get
Absolutely.
your shit together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well done, Tom. Thanks so much. Elliot, thanks, mate. Sorry about that.
How you doing?
Yeah, listen, brilliant. So Jamie Coey's not here,
Nah.
but you do know him.
Yeah, we spar.
And will he show?
I hope he does.
Yeah, so do I.
I hope he does.
So what's your story, Elliot? Because you're obviously fit. I mean, you obviously you worked out before you came to boxing. You
Yeah,
did
I
other
was more
stuff.
into sort of competing in bodybuilding.
Yeah, that's
and
what it
I've
looks like.
Transitioned over, so I've just knocked the weights on the head, more fitness, and yeah.
So have you changed shape weight-wise, or have you just changed
The
shape?
weight stayed the same, but my body's definitely changed. I'm not as lean. I'm
Yeah.
not as big and bulky. I had to lose all the mass.
Wow.
Something that feeds me in a boxing ring.
So and is that a noticeable thing? So would
Yeah,
friends of yours who knew you 6 months ago look at you and go, bloody hell?
Yeah,
you've
I've
changed."
always had a big set, but I've lost a lot of muscle in certain
Right.
places. But I feel better for it in the ring.
And why the transition? Why the leaving?
I've always dabbled with boxing throughout when I was younger, and it's just something I wanted to do. And I got my competing out of the way, and I just wanted another goal.
Oh, so you competed in bodybuilding? That was
Yeah.
was it a competitive level.
Yeah.
Oh, Elliot, thanks for your... Right, now we've got these two guys on my left and right, and it's odds on I'll get them mixed up, but hey-ho. They are boxing, they are going to be boxing each other. Ryan Hall. Is it debuts for... Hull? Is it debuts for both of you? Is it right, debut for you? Charlie here and Ryan here. Is it a debut for you, Ryan?
No, second fight.
Okay. I'm fucking sacking the researcher, I swear to you. So, it's your second fight. It's a question I ask everybody in this white-collar business. What made you turn to boxing after whatever it was you did, assuming you didn't just transition from being an amateur straight to white-collar?
Oh, I think I was in a pub with my mate Greg, just having a Sunday session. He went, "Oh, do you fancy it?" And I thought, "Fuck it, why not?" Oh shit, sorry.
It's all right. It's not... You're not in a church, son. It's okay. It's a big boy sport. Don't worry.
Yes, I just thought to go for it.
And have you enjoyed it? Tell
Yeah.
the truth. And was it hard or easier than you expected?
Yeah, it was hard. The first fight was alright. It was hard enough.
No, I don't mean that. I mean just the whole preparation part of it. Because if you've played football, if you've played cricket, rugby, whatever you've done, you've
You
gone
mean
out.
if I miss a pint?
Yeah, no, not
Yeah.
a pint. No, but you're walking out in all of those. There's other people, and it's raining. You talk to someone. In the boxing, it's different. You've got your head guard on, you've got your gum shield in, and you're walking down some steps, and there's all that roar of all those friends, all those guys that have had 10 pints, waiting to cheer you. Was that hard, or was that something you loved?
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I was nervous, but I loved it at the same time.
Sensible. So, Charlie, what's your story? Have you boxed, Charlie?
Only for the past 3 years.
And how's it been?
Up and down.
Really?
Yeah.
What's been the down parts?
Always fought bigger opponents at the wrong weight classes.
Well, why is that then? Sack your manager, son.
Pretty much, yeah. Poor decisions from my trainer.
But so have you changed trainers?
Yeah.
Okay. So is this? I mean, I'm looking at the pair of you. There's nothing a lot. He's certainly not much bigger than you. If he is bigger than you, so does that give you a bit of hope?
I don't really need hope. I know my skill set.
Okay.
I watched him fight.
Charlie, why did you take up boxing?
I converted from football to boxing.
So it's a straight transition.
Yeah.
And what have you found so different about the boxing caper?
I'm a lot more calmer.
Oh, you as a person?
Yeah.
Okay, so were you a red card specialist playing football, or potential red card specialist?
Potential, yeah. I was quite lucky.
Whereas in boxing, we don't really do red cards.
Yeah, no.
Do you like that part of it?
I do like that part, yeah.
But were you straying from the football field and were you a pain in the arse away from sport?
As a teenager, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Wrong crowds. Just
So boxing
growing up.
helps.
Yeah.
So what are you boxing? 3 minute rounds or 3 2s? Do you know?
I think it's 3 2s. I think.
Okay. And are you looking behind my back? Are you eyeing Ryan up a little bit? Just having a little look at him, see if you can get a little look in his eyes.
I had a little look, yeah.
You're not gonna do one of those Tyson Fury tricks, are you? And weigh in with 14 pounds in your pockets.
No.
7 pound weight. When Tyson Fury weighed in last week, and he came backstage, and I was interviewing him backstage after the weigh-in, and he took out a complete bottle of his rehydration fluid, which is a ½ litre. It's got to weigh about 2.5, 3 pounds. He took out one out of his left pocket and one out of his right pocket. That's why he was 19 stone 7. Right, it's the first group of fighters up here. Let's hear it for them as they take their seats back on the floor. Thank you very much. Tess, your opponent didn't show, but you're not worried about her showing on the night, Lucy P. She'll be there.
Yeah, she'll be there. I hope so.
And have you sparred with her?
I've sparred her once at 12 rounds.
12 rounds? Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, it was fine. It was really good. She's going to be fearsome, and it's going to be a fair fight, so we'll see.
Now, you're a nurse, aren't you? As I call it, a proper nurse. How do you find the time between 2 kids, nursing and boxing?
I just make the time. So when I'm training, I'll run home from work, I'll do my training in the park, and then I'll go and sort the kids out. And I've got a very, very good husband, so I'm very lucky. Otherwise, I'd be a bit stuffed.
Now, when you box, how many do you take with you, and what do they think of it? What do the people think of it? Your friends that you take?
What?
Yeah, when you're live, yeah.
Yeah, so there's my boxing lot who all love it, and because they're like my family, really. So
A new family.
A new family.
Just what you need. The nursing, the home life, and now a new family.
Yeah, I know, but it's they all kind of mix together, so it's lovely. So they're all up for it, and then my mates, half of them, yes, the other half a bit like, I'm not really too sure I want to see being punched in the face.
And how long can you continue boxing? Because you seem to have, you've got. If there was such a thing as a boxing itch, you seem to have scratched that. You're continuing. You're just going to keep going.
Yeah, well, I'll go as long as it's fun, which it is. Then I'll keep on going as long as I enjoy it.
And do you? I didn't ask you. So I know you're from Putney. Do you have a nickname of any description?
Tess, just Tess. That's it.
Could I just tell you that? I'm going to say, don't take this the wrong way. That's a rubbish nickname because that's actually your name. Yeah. Sorry, it's like rubbish. So come on, give us a nickname.
A handle, like a thing.
Handle, like a nickname, like Demon Tornado, something like that. You can't be Tess, can you?
I can be Tess the Terrier.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Tess the Terrier from Putney. Thank you. Joined now by Matt Harding, making your debut on this show. Come here today, press conference, you'll be up on the top table, nice and relaxed, but there's lots of people in here, and there's a little bit of nervous energy in that room. That'd be fair to say, Matt?
Yeah, definitely a little bit nervous there.
You can feel it, can't you?
Yeah, not when you haven't done it before, so
how do you think you're going to be in the week, in the hours, before you get in the ring? What are you going to do to keep yourself nice and relaxed?
To be fair, I've got my family to keep me nice and relaxed. I've got the people around me. I've got my trainer Darren. Obviously, he keeps me calm. Obviously, nerves will come in towards the end, so I'm sure I'll get there.
Hey, listen, guys fighting for world titles get nervous. Sometimes guys fighting for world titles need to go in the toilet and puke up, so don't worry about it. You're in good company.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And are you ready? Do you think you're ready mentally and physically?
Yeah, I feel confident. When I started, I was a lot heavier. I've lost quite a lot of weight.
How much have you lost, man?
6 weeks, I've lost 2 stone.
Well, and you're going to continue with that? You think you've got more to come off?
Yeah, definitely. I want to try and get down to a certain weight. So
the boxing's helping you in a lot more than just, having a white collar fight on a Sunday at the Clapham Grand.
Yeah, definitely is helping. If it weren't for taking up boxing, I'll probably still be having quite a lot of weight on me. So.
Matt, thanks for your honesty. Thanks for your time. I'm joined by Tom Hooker. Now, Tom, it's not your first day at the rodeo, is it? It's not your first day at the rodeo, is it?
No, I've done 2 fights before.
And how's it been, Tom? Have you enjoyed them?
I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the training and I enjoy the fighting, yeah.
What do you do for a living? Because I'm always intrigued. There's one woman I've spoken to today. She's a nurse. Someone else is a bouncer. What do you do for a living, Tom?
I'm a project manager for a lift engineering company.
Okay, so you've got what we would classify as a white-collar job.
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
And on the night, or the afternoon and the night, because they tend to go from one to the other, how many fans will you bring? How many tickets do you think you'll sell?
Well, depending if the fight actually goes, because I haven't been matched yet, but I would probably somewhere between sort of 12 and 15. It's difficult because obviously I've got a young family, so getting anyone to come for that side of it is hard. But
2 kids?
yeah, I've got 2 young daughters.
And they're babies, relatively babies, no?
No, one's 12 and one's 8.
So what does your 12-year-old think? What did your 12-year-old think, or 10 or whatever she was, when you decided to go to a boxing gym?
They love it. They come with me. They come and sit with me. They train. They love Darren. He trains us. And I've trained in a couple of other gyms as well. They've always come with me. The eldest one suffers with ADHD, and getting her out of the house into that environment has been really positive for her. So to keep me motivated, to see her happy is a good thing for me.
You know, boxing, men that box, boys that box with ADHD, it really helps them. You know that. I mean, there's been not necessarily studies. It's just the greatest evidence is what works.
Yeah, absolutely, she loves it. She loves being around other people. She can just do what she likes. She loves it, and like I say, everyone's always been very welcoming to her there. So it's good stuff all around.
It's a white collar family. Tom, thanks for your time. Joined now by Elliot Spence, yet another one of the fighters here today whose opponent was a no-show. But will Jamie Cowie be there on the night?
I hope he is, yeah.
And do you know much about him?
I know nothing. I've sparred him once, and that was it, over at 12 rounds, and that's all I know. I don't know anything about him. He's not on social media, so a ghost.
A ghost. Now you converted, you switched sports from basically competitive competitive bodybuilding. You switched sports. Did you have to switch and change your body drastically?
Yeah, massively. I've changed my weightlifting to more body weight. I've done a lot of cardio, a lot of sprints, a lot of fitness, sparring, body sparring, stuff like that. So yeah, totally different training.
And had you, at what point in your life, because you're not a teenager, at what point in your life did you think, you know what, I'll give that boxing a shot? Or did you always mean to give it a shot?
Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind, but I'm not one for cardio, if I'm honest. I'm not one for fitness. I like the aesthetic side of the bodybuilding, but the discipline of both, I can put the discipline from one into the other. It's quite easy. Yeah. So
yeah, that makes an awful lot of sense. And now I'm assuming the competitions you're in, yeah, it's the same thing. You're backstage. You've got to walk out, do your stuff in front of people. You've got to pull it all off. You haven't got a lot of time to do it. You can mess up, or you can pull it off. You can nail it, I suppose, is the expression. And I'm assuming there's nerves back in those changing rooms, those dressing rooms, people psyching themselves up, getting ready. What do you imagine it'll be like for the fight?
Well, I mean, prancing around in a pair of Speedos on stage is quite intimidating, but yes, I can imagine it being very much the same, but I'm just going to use the same mentality, keep myself composed and not overthink things and just enjoy it. But at the same time, I've not come to just compete, I've come here to win, so...
It's an interesting line, that, about not overthink, and that's the key. Elliot, thanks very much for your time. Frank, when did you first walk into a gym, and what made you literally get off a bus or get out of a taxi and walk up the stairs or down the stairs into a boxing gym?
First time I walked into a boxing gym, I was 11 years old. Boxed out of Rose Hill. Just something that was natural in me. I just wanted to do it. As I said, I had like a lot of inspiration with people around me, like Sammy Reeson, for instance.
Former British cruiserweight champion, fought for the world title.
Yeah, he fought for the WBC against Costa de Leon.
Great fighter, by the way, de Leon. Underestimated.
Yeah, no, he was a very good fighter. Sammy always joked about, said that he was lucky, really. He was fortunate that he lost that fight, because otherwise he would have been fighting Evander Holyfield next. So yeah,
he ain't joking. The one thing about Sammy, and I've known Sammy since he was about 12 when he boxed for Brixton. Right, Sammy didn't lie.
No, he's not a liar. He's a very open man, a very honest man. He'll tell you exactly how it is. But yeah.
And then you must have had a bit of a gap, though, from your amateur career to when you walked back into the white-collar business. A good few years off, I'm thinking, Frank.
Yeah, well, as I said, I started boxing when I was 11 years old. Boxed for Rose Hill. Boxed up till I was about 16. Had a few years out, as I explained earlier on, like fucking about, whatever. Then I got back into it when I was 20. Fought for Joe Piles, Mean Machine. Racked up a few wins there and on other circuits as well. And then, after that, I was going to go over pro for a while. I was trained by Ian Burbage out of...
nice guy, Ian.
Yeah, lovely fella. Stablemate to Lenny Dawes. Yeah. But yeah, so it was just one of those things. It was like, do you know what? I had a few years out after that, and it was like, yeah, I've got to pick this back up. You know, I've got to do it.
Seems like it's sorting you out. Let me ask before I let you go, what's the story with this hashtag Team Denny, the T-shirt you're wearing?
So what it is Denny is a 7-year-old boy. He's got leukemia, a very rare form of leukemia. Just trying to raise the funds for him. He needs to get over to America to have some treatment. So I'm just trying to raise awareness for him.
Frank, thanks very much for your time. Top boy. Thanks, Frank. Well, I'm joined now by Charlie Kennett, who's going to be fighting Ryan Hull on the Clapham Grand show. Charlie, do you know much about Ryan other than when you saw him there on the top table?
I've watched his last fight and that's about it. I sparred him a few weeks back, so I know a little bit.
Okay. Now, you've had some hard fights, haven't you? You've been, I'm going to use the word carefully, but you might have been overmatched slightly. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, a little bit to some extent, yeah. I fought some more experienced guys and heavier boys than I should have, really.
And Charlie, when did you walk into a gym and what made you get off the bus or walk out of the taxi and go, you know what, forget the football, I'll have a go at the boxing? What was it?
It's probably about back in of 2017. My uncle had done a charity fight and he said, do you want to do one? So I done one of that and then stuck to it. Wanted to try and jump on shows, climb the ranks.
And any predictions for your rumble with Ryan Hull? Any predictions? I mean, you can be nice or you can be fury. You can come up with rubbish or you can talk sense. It's your shout.
I'll be nice and humble. I like to say a points win. I want to keep the boxing, keep to the boxing, not the brawling.
The boxing, not the brawling, and the points win. Charlie, thanks so much for your time. Now, in the hall today, there's Ryan Hull, not to be confused with any other Ryans. Ryan, you saw your opponent, Charlie. Is that the first time that you've actually been at a press conference and looked across at your opponent?
No, I saw when I had my first bout against Carl Jackson, he was here as well for that one. But that's the second time I've seen Charlie today. Yeah.
So, do you like that, or are you the kind of guy that would just like to get there on the day and get in the ring and do your business?
I'll just get on with it. I'm just easy going, yeah. Wherever goes with the flow, it helps promote it. But I'd rather go on a day, just have the fight, if I'm honest with you. Be better.
And Ryan, what made you turn to boxing?
I was out with my friend Greg on one Sunday, and we see the show.
Session?
Yeah, session, as you say, yeah. And it was a Stamford Bridge one, but that one got cancelled.
Yeah, the one that got cancelled.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll just fight then in November, and then just went from there. I've always liked it. I've always liked watching it, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I love it now.
And has it changed? Has it changed you physically? Has it helped you mentally? I mean, has it been a beneficial thing in your life?
Oh yeah, 100%. Much better. Feel a lot better for it. I just feel a lot more healthy for it as well. Clear mindset as well. So it's been the best thing, really.
And I don't know if you are still having a drink occasionally, but the drink after the fight on that Sunday, that's a special day.
Yeah, I'm going to be planning to get absolutely fucked. So that's the aim for that one.
And on that, we'll finish it. Ryan Hull, thanks very much for your time, sir. Joined now by Frank Clark, who's going to be defending his middleweight belt against Shane Silver. Shane was a no-show, but he'll be there on the day, won't he, Frank?
Yep, hopefully. Hopefully he shows up because it'll be a cracking fight, hopefully.
Now, how many have you actually had now on the circuit, Frank?
And this is going to be my fourth fight, yeah, and I'm currently undefeated. So.
I'm going to ask you this. Has it got any easier for you?
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
Yeah, it has got a bit easier, like the nerves and the things and being more relaxed in the ring, not wasting...
Hard though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard, yeah, harder than I expected because I've played football before and then a big transition, it's just one of the hardest things and it's a lonely sport in that ring because when you're tired, there's no going nowhere.
And you can get tired, I'm not putting words in your mouth, you can get tired by being mentally exhausted before the first bell. Is that a fair comment, Frank?
Yeah, 100%. You can let the fight get to your head and 100% the energy gets sucked out of you and you're in there and you think, what the hell's going on?
So, is it tough for you on the day? You like the day of the fight and the hours before? Do you need people around you?
Well, I say I do need a few people around me, but I'm one of them people that thrive off of big occasions.
So you can hear the noise.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and because I got that big family, big crowd, so it just spurs me on a bit. It gives me that extra mile to get win.
A lot of fighters like that, you think they're going to be nervous, and when they get to fight day, they just go, "Oh yes, this is me."
Yeah, 100%. That's me. I thrive on big occasions.
Big Frank too. Thank you.